Greetings to everyone. Thank you for finding time to talk to us. I would like to say that after I resigned from the position of the head of Odessa regional administration, I talked a lot to my friends. We had some plans of our own, and I would like to announce that we'll be creating a new white political force, the platform of new forces, and our objective is to change the existing so-called political elites, but in fact these are the semi-criminals who control the power of Ukraine. Our objective is early parliamentary elections as soon as possible in very short period of time. Our goal is again the change of political elites, of so-called elite, the elite of the whole country. I would like to say about the principles of this political force. The principles of this political force is that we will not accept anyone who served at least one term in the Rada, whoever that is, no one who more than 2-3 years was at the position in the executive authorities. We will not have in our list any representative, direct or indirect, of big business. We will be supporting business. We will be underscoring that we will be helping business, but we will not allow business to interfere with politics. We will not allow business into Verkhovna Rada. There's nothing for them to do that. The epoch of semi-criminals in Verkhovna Rada is over. Now these people are there. They bought their places to rob the people of Ukraine. We need to sweep them out of there by the force of people, by the peaceful force, but very strong force. And that is why in the nearest days I will visit different regions. I will be talking to people, and you know that the Prime Minister, the President of Ukraine, many times during the last year when I worked, starting from last summer, offered me the position of the Prime Minister of Ukraine. He offered me to become the Prime Minister, and several times he offered me to head his party, Solidarity. I refused to head his party, Solidarity, but I also did not go as part of the list of his party in the Odessa region. That was my decision, connected to the fact that all these parties, especially related with the authorities, related to the president, are contaminated, are rotten, are cynic and anti-national elements. For me, the victory of Ukraine in the war with the aggressor is the main goal. I believe that we will win in this war, not just thanks to the heroism of our soldiers, that's the main thing, but we will also win when we get rid of the so-called political elite of Ukraine, semi-criminals who are identical to Russian ruling force. Till we have the elements similar to Russian ones in Rada, in authorities, to say that Ukraine will be able to get away from Savok, from Soviet regime, from Putin, to win in the war, to establish peace and go to Europe. This will not happen. We will go to Europe, we will establish peace, and we will win in the war only after we implement the reforms, and we'll have the reforms implemented when we get rid of those who are in power. We need new people of different ages who will be motivated not to make money, as is well reflected in their declarations. But And the main thing is to have people who love Ukraine, who are ready to fight for it, and who are ready to work for the country, but not for their own clan, for the pocket, for oligarchy group. That is all I wanted to tell you. If you have any questions, we are ready to answer.
Dear colleagues, do you have any questions? Please do not forget to remind your name. 112 TV channel, whom do you see as your partners? Whether President Petro Poroshenko will be your ally or no? President Petro Poroshenko had a lot of possibilities to implement reforms in this country, not to imitate reform, not with the objective to imitate reforms, not with the purpose to get another tranche of IMF loans, but unfortunately he failed to do this and wasted time. Moreover, his administration during all period of my work in Odessa did not do what they had to do. They did not approve my deputy leaders of Odessa administration, and moreover, they dismissed members of my team. Look at this team, they are young people, and they started to put the old and corrupt bureaucrats instead. I wish to partner with the people of Ukraine because the political spectrum is rotten, and sorry to say this, but mass media are rotten. Please answer me, who do not play the dirty oligarch games, who do not participate in the dirty political games. Yesterday, Kolomoisky TV channel attacked me. I'm happy that Kolomoisky attacked me. He did not wish to please me with some compliments. Neither Rabinovich wished to pay me compliments, and I'm happy that they attacked me. And I think I'm the only politician among Ukrainian politicians having only one citizenship. I have just one passport, Ukrainian passport, while many of my colleagues have up to 4 different passports, different citizenships. I think the more that their media will attack me, the more often people will see me on TV, and we will gain more supporters. Why Kolomoisky attacked me? Because he's in the process of depriving from his bank. And I know that the presidential administration advised Kolomoisky to attack me to prevent liquidation of Kolomoisky's bank. While for Poroshenko and his administration, it's important to allow Kolomoisky to attack me instead of putting Kolomoisky's big bank under control of the state. And just one attack upon me and to inform me where do I keep my alleged millions of money. When we speak about allies, I cannot find where my allies are. I have nothing in common with Kolomoisky, Rabinovich, Rainin, and other people, Hamutynik and other people who remain in big positions due to the clearing movement, we got rid of Yatsenyuk and Shokin, and this new movement will get rid of those commercial people. When early parliamentary elections could be held, whether you will negotiate with politicians, I won't negotiate with politicians. In Ukraine, you never have negotiations. You have just secret collates, secret collusions when people get together and collude about some dirty things. And when Ukrainian people will be ready to say to their people, go out, they will go out.
These authorities, unlike the previous, have no political support. They have no regional support like Yanukovych had. Their speakers are shameful. They cannot be shown, they could be shown only in comedy shows. Who are the main speakers of Poroshenko? Those who is a thief from Odessa, Goncharenko, a small thief of Odessa. He is the main speaker of Poroshenko's bloc. He lost just in front of his eyes this house of receptions in Odessa. I told Poroshenko, he stole it, and Poroshenko said, let him give it back, and then he made the Goncharenko his main speaker. Will Goncharenko protect him? They realistically don't have any political protection or defense. They have less money because everything was stolen away more than the predecessors, and not a single soldier will do anything, not a single representatives of the law enforcement bodies will do anything to defend them. Who will be fighting for these oligarchs who at the night they shoot, and in the daytime they trade coal? Now it's soon the heating season has started. Last year, I remember where it was from. It was coming from Donbass under the cover of SBU people and such MPs as Kononenko. I would like to ask, at night our soldiers are dying and they are shooting, and in the daytime they trade with separatist coal. And will soldiers defend them from the people's anger? Having said that, all our methods will be absolutely peaceful because in Ukraine, the people are big force, and I'm the first one who will never allow any destabilization in the country, and I will not give any pretext for our enemy to use it. But what will be good for the enemies of Ukraine if this Verkhovna Rada and government continue to work? The more they are there, the sooner they will let us up. To remove them is, first of all, not the question of the national security, is the question of national security. While we have the authorities who are selling the national interest, we will not be able to adequately defend ourselves from the enemy. I believe that everyone understands it. It's like the arithmetics. You were the first one who greeted Donald Trump with the president. He's your old friend. Will you be using your old friendship in the election campaign, in the elections in Ukraine? I would like to show what were they saying about us. In fact, Donald Trump, I talked to him for several years. Where's the sound? They talk about him and then about the country. When you are in Georgia, everyone will be talking about you. I just want to thank my new friend and partner. We will achieve success, and this will be fantastic. As to Saakashvili, he's an example to follow, to be followed by in Europe and the whole world. What he did is unprecedented. The USA should be proud of having such partners as he is. I don't want it to be perceived politically, but we, America, can use such talent in our purposes. He's reformer number one in the world during the last 5 years, and that's according to the World Bank. He's fighter number one against corruption, and that's according to Transparency International. According to the World Bank, Georgia is the first one in the easiness of business, and the second one in Europe at the level of security, and that has been achieved within a short period of time, 7 years. And now I would like to greet the great leader who has done unprecedented miracle in his country, President Saakashvili.
He's one of the great leaders of the world right now. Are going there to find out what he's doing.
Я хочу просто,
You saw that. I just want to say Donald Trump believed that I need to be used in the US, and Hillary Clinton was saying the same. Hillary Clinton was saying that our system of Center of Administrative Services was to be reproduced in America. She was talking about that in Greece and Israel, and President Poroshenko had the chance to use me correctly. Not for intrigues, not to remove Yatsenyuk. I believe it was correct to remove Yatsenyuk, not to play his oligarchic games, not to promote at the elections what I did in Chernihiv, but he had the chance to use me for real reforms in this country, but his real reforms and his well-being are in contradiction with each other. And I'm here because just without his will, I would like to use my experience for real reforms to change Ukraine for the benefit of Ukrainian citizens. And he's not an instructor for me. He had the chance. What Donald Trump said, Poroshenko knows it even better. President Poroshenko knows me even longer than Donald Trump. And what? He did not want to use my experience because he did not want to help Ukraine. I want to help Ukraine. I don't want to depend on his will. And I address Ukrainian people. That is why I believe that we will be able to implement all the reforms. And that's to Donald Trump. Guys, we are looking at what will happen in America, what will happen in Berlin. Maybe let's get concentrated on what should be in Kyiv. The situation is very simple. We all say every 6 months we go to IMF, give us tranche, give us money. Dear American friends, this administration in private talks with me said that Ukraine got rotten, but what to do? We need to give money to them. I don't know what Trump will be doing. He's unpredictable, even though I know him. He's not silly, but he's unpredictable. We are entering very dangerous road, and there we are not ready, because our authorities can do only one thing: imitate reforms, lie, and demand money. And the Trump can say, we will not give you any more money, and the money not in the US, money is here in their declarations, in their pockets, in large houses in the outskirts of Kyiv. That's where the money of Ukraine is. Ukraine is the poorest in GDP, the country of Europe per capita. It's one of the richest potential countries in Europe, but that is the country where people are deceived and robbed. And these deceived people have to come and take their wealth away from those who took the wealth away from the people. We need to change the authorities. We need to reduce the taxes, to free away business, to take away from feeders the clans related to the president, related to Rada, to local kings. Let people develop freely, and then everything will be fine. This will be small Georgia. In Georgia, the potential is 10 times less than in Ukraine, but here The wealth is everywhere. It's just taken away from people. It's very simple. Talking about Trump, why Americans should be helping us, or Europeans, if our MPs do not care about their country, why they should be helping us if the money of some tranches go to their offshore accounts, to their luxurious houses in the south of France, in Spain, and other places. Why should they help us? Will they be asking this question? I believe that Europe owes to Ukraine because Ukrainian soldiers are defending Europe with their lives. But why should they be helping this government which doesn't care about own soldiers? That's the main question for me. And this question will be more and more important because there is a threat that there will be less and less attention paid to us. But if we are good, if everything's good here, then they will need something from Ukraine. We need to be strong for that. We need to be at the level of our own people and our own soldiers, but not at the level of those semi-criminals and the rada.
Irina Gerasimova, there is one fact. You appealed to the media and the Fifth TV channel. Now you are on the air in the Fifth chair. No, I did not say that you did not work, but in the evening on Fifth TV channel there will be TV show saying that in reality I did nothing. It was Kahab and the kids who implemented on the reform and etc. In Ukraine, it's very possible to shut me out. When was the last time when you spoke to the Petro Poroshenko in normal situation without aggression, and how did you manage to get Ukrainian citizenship, not having lived in Ukraine for 5 years? These people can do. Did everything. Let us look at the team, at the clans of Hamotenya, Kolomoisky, etc. We have a lot of people, and we will change the ruling force. The power will be absolutely new, and those people who just robbed the country, they will be brought responsible against the law. And in my practice, I had a situation when we brought to criminal responsibility all the robbers, all the thefts. Now, of course, they will try to compromise me, and the more they will try to compromise me, the more I will fight against them. When the issue of changing the power in Ukraine will come, I will go to Poroshenko with a suggestion to appoint new elections to the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine. With all my respect to the Institute of the President, with all my respect and even warm senses to the President as a human being, despite all that facts, I won't meet with him and members of his administration unless the time will come to announce early elections to the Verkhovna Rada. And when we will be so numerous that we will be ready to demand him to sign about a decree about early elections to the parliament, we will go to him. Rustavit, Tbilisi, Georgia radio station. The new campaign in Ukraine and role of the opposition leadership here in Ukraine. Does it mean that you rejected from campaigning in Georgia? There are around 600,000 people who voted for your party in Georgia. Does it mean this, or and also whether you are you afraid that you will be exiled from Ukraine, expatriated? Yesterday's BU visited me and tried to expropriate something from you. One Georgian oligarch who was financed by the FSB hired a lot of special agents and servicemen to compromise me. They found for my business UPS one overcode and a bill paid by President Yushchenko when he visited Georgia, and they sued case to court about my corruption and did not manage to do this. And compare this to another people like Mr. Demchina, who Mr. Granovsky, etc., let them try to search for compromising materials in everywhere in the world. They will find nothing. But as for my supporters in Georgia, their future now depends on what's going on here in Ukraine. Unless we manage to bring Ukraine to order and to establish a really democratic order here in Ukraine, and won't manage to resolve the situation in the East, the future of Georgia will remain uncertain. I think that Mr. Poroshenko has no financial agreements with Ivanushenko, while Mr. Ivanushenko, Mr. Poroshenko said that I came to Ukraine from Georgia. We both arrived to Ukraine at the same time when he arrived to Ukraine from Moldova. He is Ukrainian and I am Ukrainian too. I'm one out of that not very numerous Ukrainian politicians who has just one Ukrainian citizenship. I know a lot of politicians who have all sorts of citizenship, the Greek citizenship, Portuguese citizenship, all sorts, Latin American citizenship, etc. I am only one who has only one citizenship because I love Ukrainian people.
Yana Polyanska, Radio of Liberty, can you tell us what should be the criteria of people? They should not be related to authorities. Should they have experience in any sphere? In Ukraine, there are many professionals of different ages. In Ukraine, there are very honest, very decent, very entrepreneurship, patriotic people. No one allows them to come close. In the DS administration, we had a competition, and I did not know any one of those people who we employed. I knew many representatives of former authorities who studied with me in the same institute at the same course. We, when we were young, were going to same discos, but I was not appointing them. That was not the principle of selection and appointment. I do not believe in this appointment according to Kononenko's principle. I believe in meritocracy. When a person wins at the competition, we all have equal chances. But for that, several conditions are to be exist. They shouldn't be related to the authorities. To stay long in these authorities and not to be corrupt is impossible. I have many friends, many of them are somehow related and corrupt. They were, whether they were Orange, Yanukovych party, or now, this is the main principle that no one should be in the authorities. One full term is maximum. 2-3 years of work as the head of regional administration. You cannot be used but more than 3-4 years. That's a problem. Let's give the chance to new people. And third, businessmen have nothing to do in the Rada. When businessman comes to Rada, he applies everything to himself or herself and doesn't allow others. We need to set same set of rules for all businessmen. We need to reduce taxes for all businessmen. We need to deregulate for all businessmen, because now I force the authorities to cancel the taxes from the ministry, from wineries. But if you are big wine, if like Tretyakov, you have a lottery, and that's one of the dear friends of the president, and he blocks the gambling law, because if you have lottery, you don't want to have any casinos. But if you are the person of Avakov, you not want to have other casinos, because he's protecting, patronizing the illegal casinos. The business should be maximum transparent, and businessmen should not have nothing to do in the parliament. The businessman who's in parliament is semi-criminal, and 90% of them are semi-criminals. This is the person who takes free or very cheap something and sells for expensive. And that is what our political class is doing, to get rid of such semi-criminals, to make a law and not to allow businessmen into politics. And also I believe that you need to limit the ownership of mass media where you work. Oligarchs shouldn't own mass media. There are the public councils. 2 days ago, Kolomoisky, or yesterday, the day before yesterday, Kolomoisky was told, if you want to preserve your bank, attack Saakashvili. But when we come to power, we will defend these depositors. This bank, I'm sure, will be nationalized, and the owner will be put to prison when we are in power. So no one should doubt that. I don't throw the words into the wind. The Kolomoisky will be in prison. No Switzerland will save him. With my connections, I will get such people as he from Switzerland and from Malaysia and all others as well. No one should doubt that. And let them pour all this dirt on me. This will not save him, because it's not because I'm so angry. That is what the law and the justice requires. Such people who rob the country should sit in prison, should stay in prison. I'm Yulia. Ostrov internet publication. My question is about your past. This year 3 times I was sending the request about access to Odessa administration. You 3 times violated the law on access to public information. Then, sorry, give others. I will continue. I'm not to listen to you. I'm here not to listen to someone who was sent by oligarchs. I want to ask a question. Briefly, your question. Briefly, your question. Unfortunately, we cannot hear the question. Please give the... there was a debt. Okay. I was not given an answer. I sent the same request to the Ministry of Economic Development, and they confirmed that they did not receive these calculations, and Kulialnik has a big debt. 11 million. And I have two questions. Why are you violating the law on access to public information? Why didn't you submit the calculations so that the government pays to Koyalnik? And is that all? And you have that I have this bad recent past. Don't comment, just answer the question. What do you mean not comment? Then you answer, I will leave. What do you mean not comment the question? I'm sorry. Do you know, in Georgia, when it was about IDPs, refugees after the war of 2008, listen to me, my government did the quickest program in the history of the United Nations. We built several dozen thousand houses. In Ukraine, there's a war going on for third year, and you shouldn't be asking me why these IDPs don't have the assistance, why they don't have where to live. From here, it's 500 meters. That's the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine. Then 150 meters away, there's Verkhovna Rada, just across the road. And then there is the presidential administration. Everything is very simple. In any country, the government takes care, the president takes care about IDPs and refugees. When we have our government, every IDP, every refugee will have their own house. They will have private ownership. They will not be staying in such sanatoria. And I'm saying it not just as a promise. I did it in my life. We gave to every refugee from in Georgia own house, and when we are our forces in power, every IDP will have an apartment, and then I'm sure that we will provide conditions so that they don't have to leave the territories, and the territories will not be occupied. And that is the real answer. I am the press secretary of Mikhail Nikolaevich to use such facts that we are using the law. First, learn how to correctly give a request. And Masha Gaidar did not leave the sanatorium. If we had money, we would have done that. But you know perfectly well. What is your next question? What is the next question?
Українська правда, Роман Кравець. Mr. Mikhail, people close to you united in the party which was called Khvili. There was Mr. Saakashvili, etc. Yes, Saakashvili, I heard him today's morning, but I never heard about party Khvili or wave. When I was in the position in the administration, I worked every day, but I never heard about the wave party. We will create the wave of people's will, but the wave is a force which comes and lives. And if we wish to have reforms, it should not be a wave. Whether we will have Mr. Chumak, Saakashvili, Kasko, etc., we will have all those people who worked in the parliament not more than one convocation, who worked in the executive board is not not more than 2-3 years, etc. We have very transparent criteria. If you spend in governmental position more than one period in the post, then you should leave governmental service and write memoirs. And I think that all those people remained in who were in power just for one term. They all are engaged, and I think that all those people have to shift to other areas. And I wish to say to everybody that we do not have representatives of all the forces. All the here does not mean that it's not about age. Whether you plan to have negotiations with Yulia Tymoshenko, no negotiations with these political forces. A month ago in Georgia, you failed to gain the majority of population. In Ukraine, you have even less time. How do you assess your political chances? What will happen to the political force in Georgia? Whether you will have two fronts. No, a person cannot work until two fronts. Even before elections in Georgia, I said that I would never come back to work in Georgia. The second is that I was not present at the elections in Georgia. I was there. I was not there this time. When I was in Georgia, I was present in Georgia during falsification of elections by Georgy Shevardnadze. We managed to do things. Now I feel in Ukraine as and I'm doing the same as I did in Georgia back in 2001 when I quit from Shevardnadze's government and I started I founded new force. We announced early elections, we won, and we carried out reforms. We believe that we will win, we will change the power, and we will change the attitude of people to the power. As of today, people expect from power that it will do just very negative things. We will fight for the period of time that we will be able to do this, and then we will fight till the moment when this is still needed. I traveled much around Ukraine. I know the moods of people. People wish to get a bit of fresh air, and they wish to change today's situation. I am a big optimist. Today I count for mass media, I count for journalists. I have no respect to the owners of your mass media, to the majority of your mass media, but you're patriots and citizens of Ukraine, you're professionals, you love this country, and we anyway will win. When 5 channel, the 5th TV channel was persecuted here in Ukraine, in Georgia, I allowed 5th channel to be broadcast via satellite TV, and we won.
In English, if possible, but I can put the translation back on if you prefer to do it in Russian.
Yes.
Your European backers, the governments that back Ukraine, privately still say to me that although they're frustrated at the level of reform and the progress of the government, they still have faith in the government here and they still see a lot of positives. How do you explain that, and how do you reconcile that with the picture that you're painting today? And what do you say to your critics who really say that you are being opportunistic and your policies are populist in essence?
Well, I built by populists are people who promise lots of things but don't deliver. I've delivered the most successful country in this part of the world, country of Georgia, that despite having quite bad government right now, has by far the most performing, the most cleanest, and the most efficient institutions, not only in former Soviet countries, amongst former Soviet countries, but also one of the best ones in Europe. And if you don't believe me, believe Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. They both acknowledged it in numerous public statements. And I don't know to which bureaucrats are you speaking, in gray bureaucrats, empty suits from some bureaucratic offices, I'm sorry to tell you, at embassies, etc. But 2 leading politicians in the world at last elections publicly acknowledged all the achievements I personally and my government had. That's my first point. Second point, about being happy with the reform. I think we would rather ask the people of Ukraine than the bureaucrats. The bureaucrats want to report back that all the money they've been pouring into Ukraine has not been spent in vain. Well, people of Ukraine think otherwise. They want to report that there is some small but some steady progress. Well, with some steady progress, if we continue with this kind of small steps, we'll get back to the level of economic development of Yanukovych's time, pre-Maidan times, in more than 15 years from now. And waiting for 15 years, considering what kind of frustrations ordinary Ukrainians are going through, is not an option. The option is a fast development. The option is fast reform. And we've been suggesting this reform. And my team that I brought with me from Georgia had been, by the way, offering of the only very few successful reforms. We wrote the anti-corruption law, and National Anti-Corruption Bureau was modeled after the law written by the Georgians, and Ukrainian police is exact prototype of Georgian police. What else do you want? What else is our concrete contribution to Ukrainian reforms? Who else of others that have done anything in this country?
Sure, but aren't Ukraine's problems slightly more complex than your kind of painting? I mean, you claim to have a silver bullet for Ukraine. You weren't able to do it in Odessa. Why can you do it on the national picture?
Well, who else among all the governors in Ukraine delivered even half of the results we delivered in Odessa? Who else? That's the question. With basically no functions we have, with all the sabotage, who else have delivered in half of the results we delivered in Odessa? And don't follow this way. Who else delivered half of? Give me one region in Ukraine that has delivered even half of the things we've delivered. Give me one region that even brought 10% of the young people we brought in. Give me one region where even 1% of the anti-corruption efforts we applied to Odessa. That's all bullshit. Odessa has performed, and whoever says what, people know about it. And that's why they will support us. They will support us for success in Georgia, for my solid background of what I've achieved in Georgia. Every Ukrainian is aware of that. And they support us for our good efforts in Odessa, which didn't produce the results I wanted, but it's still by far the better than everything else produced in any other region of Ukraine. And everyone knows that. They also support it because the people I brought to Ukrainian police, to Ukrainian National Anti-Corruption Bureau, to Ukrainian Ministry of Justice, they were almost the only people that delivered. And I think Westerners know it. Because all our effort, this team was financed by Americans, by Europeans, and I don't think they were financing Georgians because they wanted to help opportunists. They were financing us because we were delivering. So let them shut up now, because they know the truth.
Шановні колеги, останнє питання від пана з мікрофоном, лаконічно, і будемо завершувати. Прошу.
Олег Сухов, газета.
More question.
Вы упомянули досрочные выборы в Раду. А будете ли вы добиваться досрочных выборов президента? И даже если они будут
Это все будет зависеть от президента.
недосрочными, то будете ли вы выдвигать кандидатуру на следующих выборах президента? И будете ли вы, другой вопрос, объединяться или сотрудничать с Демократическим альянсом? И еще хотелось бы пригласить вас на конференцию Tiger Conference, газета «Киев-Пост», 29 ноября. И еще раз попросить об интервью, если можно.
Я хочу просто последний вопрос. Я хочу сказать, во-первых, я буду сотрудничать со всеми здоровыми силами, которые отвечают тем более вашим критериям. Это раз. Во-вторых, что касается президента. Институт президентства, я уважаю все институты. Совершенно очевидно, что эта Рада не может продержаться. Все зависит... А президент должен назначить досрочные выборы в Раду. Поэтому это его решение. В том числе связанное с его будущей политической карьерой, какое решение он примет. Это не мое решение решать его судьбу, потому что он будет делать вместе не со мной, а с народом Украины. Это раз. Во-вторых, что касается, кто на кого должен сидеть, я тут сюда не за должностями приехал бороться. Мне предлагал Порошенко быть премьером. Назвать меня премьером. Мне он предлагал быть лидером его партии, и если мы пойдем на досрочные выборы, вместе пойти опять стать премьером. И я от этого отказался. А почему я от этого отказался? Потом в этом раскладе я не видел себя. Мне нужно менять расклад. Когда расклад поменяется, когда вот все они, новые силы, вы будете у власти, тогда всем найдется место. Всем найдется место. В новых силах будет много новых людей. Надо открыть глаза и их просто найти. И мы их найдем. И они обязательно возьмут и все поменяют. И нам нужно все менять в этой стране. Все очень просто. Поэтому, я себя вижу в роли...
Will change. and I see myself in this role. I hope that people will follow me. I'm eager to become a trainer of these new formers, active trainer of these new forces, and many young people came to me when I worked in Odessa, and this shows that I am ready to find common language with the new forces of all ages. The last question, the very last question about early elections. SBU stated that the Kremlin now tries to destabilize situation in Ukraine via early elections. If you believe that a person whom Putin promised to hand over the testicles and who experienced all sorts of possible provocations, beginning with the war and ending with dirty defamations, now Kolomoisky is showing Russian soap operas, and now they use TV channel to compromise me, and now those old women who watch this TV channel in Odessa, they watch this dirty materials about me. I can tell you who tries to undermine the situation in Ukraine. Those so-called patriots who encourage people to sacrifice 1 hryvnia for 80 ozone, having millions of hryvnia on their accounts, and those people from Baronprom who did not manage to produce any new weaponry for Ukrainian army. I tried to convince the congressman of the United States to deliver lethal weaponry to Ukraine, while Ukraine is able to produce its own lethal weapons. But that forces who are in the leadership of this country, they prevented it from this. Where is our new weaponry? Where are our new aircrafts and combat helicopters? Why in many places even the radio equipment is not installed at the checkpoints? Why do not see the thermal visual equipment? We do not have even VCs along the front line, and these people will say that I'm backed by Mr. Putin. The longer they will stay in power, the easier it will be to Putin to put an end to the Ukrainian state. The bigger defense strategy for Ukraine is to change the parliament and the government and bring people who will produce new weaponry, who will feed the pensioners, who will resolve the problems of the servicemen in the ATO. Probably you do not believe that the ATO veterans are given sufficient means for living. We do not give them flats, we do not give them land. That is what is promised. If tomorrow they will take weapons against their own leaders, it will be due their misery and not because of Putin. while the current elite try to invest money into the villas on Côte d'Azur. Or you can say that I play on the side of the Russians. You can do this, but Ukrainian people are smart enough and understand that a victory over Putin is in successful reforming, in making Ukraine a strong and wealthy country. That's why we have to win in this war and impose and build up peace, but not via signing capitulations, but through overcoming corruption, through the trust of people to future, and then we will win. Thank you, dear colleagues. Now we finish. See you next time.